We're going to start off in the bottom right-hand side of the map from Team Liquid. We do begin with the blue Terran player. This is Clem. Looking for revenge, and wow, a proxy from Clem? Top left-hand side, our red Terran player here is Cure. The only proxy I've seen Clem do on a regular basis most of the time is he likes to go into like build one racks and proxy the second racks. This is gonna get really awkward. He's gonna proxy Marauders? No, that barracks is too far away for proxy Marauders. It's gonna have to Marauder has to go all the way around here. Oh dear, this is gonna get really weird because Q's just gonna straight up proxy into Clem's natural expansion. Clem is gonna build one racks out. Looks like he's gonna go double gas. The problem for Clem is he's just never going to have any units at home to defend, but he will be able to put pressure on Cure, but he'll just kill Cure's economy way slower than Cure will kill his. That's going to be seeing our couple of racks continuing through in this natural expansion, so getting that up and running. Yeah, I mean, I just think this is worse for Clem, right? Because you have one less production structure. Oh, he is going to go Tech Lab. He is going to go Marauders. Oh, wow. Huh. This is bad, man. We'll see if Cure stacks up Reapers, because stacking Reapers might give Clem a better chance. Because then it gives Clem more time to set up without worrying. Because the reason you'd stack Reapers here is Clem hasn't scouted this, so Cure might say, well, if you're trying to get away with something, if I stack for 2 Reapers instead of just going in with the first, it gives me more of a surprise factor. And that does give Clem some time here where this factory will continue to build without being under harassment. I'm not sure if the factory coming up is something which matters in the end. Clem's also going to stack Marauders. Here we go. Reapers are going to show up. Q's going to bunker up this high ground, and immediately Clem going to pull SCVs. So you obviously want to try and keep the SCVs building on that factory. Because a Hellion right now goes a long way if you can get up to a Hellion. Even a Cyclone would be great too, but the Cyclone takes so long to get into. First Marauder is going to show up from Clem, and now we're going to be microing 2 places at the same time, guys. So this is what we end up on. Hellion on the way out from Clem. I just don't know if this Hellion does anything. I don't know if it survives long enough. Clem's obviously denying some mine, but he's just going to be so much slower on trading out here, and eventually the Marauders having to fight Reapers. I mean, eventually that doesn't feel too great for you. This Hellion's going to pop out. He's going to rally it across the map, it seems, so he's not interested in trying to keep the Hellion here to fight. He wants to just get the Hellion across the map to help him out. That makes sense. He's going for one more Hellion and one more Marauders. Clem's going to lose his final SCVs here. He returns a little bit more money. That actually gets him up to one more Marine of money now. Okay, well, this Hellion's going to pop out. It's going to go across the map. Cure is basically saying, I'm just going to mine as much as possible, because the more I mine right now, the more chance I have of actually getting just extra units out. So that's why Cure tries to fight here as long as he can. Now he's going to lift up that orbital. Clem nearly loses, and he takes a lot of damage on a Marine. Okay, what are we left with here? 7 Reapers against 3 Marauders, 2 Marines, and a Hellion. Did this Hellion die? It looks like this Hellion died. Not sure what happened there. I guess just too many Reapers, right? This gets really awkward right now. Clem's actually going to already land his command center. He's going to mule. He's looking for more money. And these Reapers are busy fighting over here, so he's actually going to get some money. Mules the close mineral patch as well to get as much as possible. Factory acts as a distraction, and this mule is mining minerals, and Clem is now able to start affording his own Reapers. He has 150 gas, so if he can get to 150 minerals, then brilliant. Cure, he sees the CC. He realizes now Clem's going to return one more set of minerals, and that's going to be it for the moment. But again, that means that Clem gets one more Reaper added onto this map here. Cure is building Marines as well, so he's actually also able to add to his composition at the moment. Oh my goodness, this is a crazy way to start the lower bracket finals. Cure is going to try and take this base over here. A landed base, if you have to fight in that position, is generally going to be very good for you as... yeah, it's just too many Reapers. It's generally going to be very good for you as secure, because it means that your opponent might actually hit this command center by mistake. Too many Reapers in the end. Clem's army is just not good enough. And that's going to be GG. Reapers get pretty powerful pretty quickly, man. In this case of that game that was just played, Clem's build doesn't scout. You don't scout with Proxy Marauder. You proxy a barracks. You Marauder build, right? You go for it. The same thing as Kira doesn't scout, right? He just builds his barracks across the map because your build is designed to... your build is designed to get out there and to do damage. You're the aggressor. You don't necessarily need to know what's coming because you're taking the initiative. And obviously you get into those weird scenarios where both those builds try to take initiative and they're different builds, so one takes precedence over the other, one is better than the other one, you know? Does someone explain why you go Marauder in TvT? So Proxy, you only really ever go Proxy Marauder in TvT, you would never go like Marauders unless you're playing against mech. But Proxy Marauder, it's kind of like, well, it's just a proxy build. It's a pressure build. It's 1 Rax, it's fairly low commitment. You get concussive shells, so you can slow units down. If you get a unit caught in a slow, they can't get back to the bunker in time. That's a kill. And at the end of the day, generally what happens at 3 Marauders, you lift up your barracks, and you fly that to the overhead position on your opponent's ramp, and then you can kill the depots for free. Because the Marauders have the range to kill those depots without putting themselves in range of a bunker. So you're basically going to guarantee yourself a couple of depot kills and potentially SCV mine time lost, etc. So it's just a pressure build, and because it's 1 Rax, you can just go into the factory behind it as well. So it's a pressure opening. SCV is going to pass each other by as this game settles down into a much more standard affair, as we're going to see both players opening similar with the gases, but we do see Reactor from Cure, while Clem will go for just a second Reaper, so a little bit greedier here from Cure. If he gets away with it, then that will be a slight advantage for him in these early few moments. Hellion pops down, gonna start moving down to the low ground. 2 Reapers and a Hellion coming on through. Just gonna see a couple of Reapers continuing out from Kira. He's just gonna expand. Obviously, both players gonna expand, and I guess the question really comes down to how many Reapers do we go to. Looks as though Kira is gonna go to the 5 Reaper openings. So I'd like to say we've been seeing this a little bit more. This kind of additional Reaper Hellion setup. Now, Reapers take a while to build, as Clem pushes initially here. This is going to be a test of micro. On pretty even setups, of course, he will have reinforcements a bit sooner. Clem has to go up a ramp to fight. Ow! How do you run up a ramp, kill a Reaper, and get out with nothing? I guess just target fire because you're expecting to fight versus your opponent not expecting to fight. Now he's going to come around the other side. He's going to see the extra units, though, so now immediately Clem realizes, oh, this is not just you kind of building, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions. You're going for more than that. So he realizes just how committed this becomes. Clem will have a Cyclone on his side. Building a Viking as well can land and help out defensively. And I think that's probably why you build the Viking, because otherwise you're actually in a position to build the Raven now. But I think he realizes that this is maybe a little bit of aggression. Maybe he's afraid of a medevac. So you build the Viking for safety, and then you can go into the Raven instead. So this is not going to be too aggressive, though, I don't think, at the end of the day. I think this is just going to settle down and not really build up to being too much. Marines tank the Viking. All this continuing through as we just have the Reapers making their way out to the watchtower. So what Clem wants to do here, 2 jump up spots for Reapers on this map. Hard to wall them both off and to cover them both. These Reapers want to hop into the main base if they get the chance and go SCV hunting, because 3 Reapers will 2-shot SCVs, and that obviously means you can go to get a bunch of kills here. Marines are not in position at all. Everything's out of position, really. And this is going to be a few SCV kills at the very least. SCVs are going to pull. They want to push these Reapers back towards the Marines as Clem stirs for a moment. Good grenade, though. 3 workers down. Here comes the Raven with the auto turret. 1 more kill. Nope. Pretty well handled by Cure, but you do have to use your auto turret energy. It pulled the entire army back. I think Clem actually had to stutter. He kind of paused for a moment and gave the SCVs a chance to really force the Reapers back toward the Marines momentarily. And I think that maybe cost Clem maybe 1 or 2 more kills, but now the Raven being there, of course, popping out at the right time, having that auto turret to use, that helps a lot as well. As overall, Clem still comes out 3 SCVs ahead. Obviously at a stage of the game where he just doesn't deem the Reapers to be oh so important in the main army fight, which is true, and the Reapers aren't going to do much at this stage. when it comes to your main force, so yeah, not bad. Not bad at all still at the end. It just, sometimes you can see that do so much more as well, and it definitely felt like that was a situation where I was going to get so much done with the fact there was like 2 Marines in the main base and nothing else. Marine going to go settle down on the watchtower as the rest of the army of Kua moves through to the middle of the map, so into the center of the map we go. Marine around the bottom side just wants to go and take the watchtower, but line of sight blocker means that Kua should win this fight. Actually start fighting at the same time because Kua's Marine already had a bit of damage on it. Wow, Clem's actually going to win the fight. How come Clem just wins fights he shouldn't? It just keeps happening, you know? It just keeps happening. The Hellions in this cycle, I'm going to go on, take the left. Everything else going to gather up in the center here still. Raven, Marine tank, Reaper, Hellion. Let's start moving forward. A single Marine comes down that ramp, gets picked off instantly. But the tank's now going to siege you up, and Kira is just going to have to turn this away. Back through to the middle of the map for the moment. Not allowed to come in and be too aggressive here as Clem establishes his third base. Kira will do the same a little bit later, though. Again, the eco lead is definitely in Clem's favor. Those few SCVs ahead. It's definitely led to just getting that third base up a little bit faster as well. So, in general, Clem's game just a bit more eco-focused, but not that Q is far behind him. Just the slight differences, the slight edges right now. Around the top we go. A couple of Hellions and a Cyclone coming through, and SCVs. There's some trouble again. This is kind of similar to the Reapers in the sense of, you know, you're at this stage of the game where a Cyclone and a couple of Hellions don't have much of a use, but they get, what, 3 SCVs and a Viking. And the Viking is a pretty important unit at this stage of the game. Air control is always important, right? So actually being able to shut down a Viking there for units which, again, just aren't really that useful, it's a good trade for Clem. And look at the worker count now. All of a sudden, 63 to 50. Not sure if Q has stumbled on the worker production a little bit, but I would imagine so. Or is he just cutting worker production? He does not have the worker production because he doesn't have that third CC ready. Well, either way, I mean, just Clem continuing to expand on the worker lead. Has that one Marine out here, so we'll see this attack moving. He is already set to come back into position and to potentially fight this. Both players are at that kind of 5 Viking count as well, where you can one-shot down the Vikings of your opponents. So if this gets into a bit of an air duel, we've seen Clem using his micro to take advantage of that earlier on already today. One Marine going to get picked off. We're not going to start pressing in. Kira's going to find a siege. So Clem is going to have, well, he's actually got a couple of depots out here that are in some trouble, and there's gas, so has to deal with this. He's going to see the Vikings and Ravens into the main. So Kira, I love to talk about opportunity in TvT and how when you're the aggressive player in TvT, opportunity really is there for you a lot of the time, right? And this is absolutely the case right now. Because Q is being the aggressor, he finds the chance to come and drop these Vikings into the main base. He finds the chance to get this siege out onto this base as well. Clem just about keeps one Raven alive as he does clean up all the air control of his opponent. His drop is going to try and do some damage. He'll drop into the main. There's only one siege tank here, so if Clem fights that, he's not going to go for it. He's going to back it up. I don't think he realized. I mean, Kira was realizing how much trouble he was in because the SCVs were already pulling. Clem did not realize his opportunity there. He could have had that tank and had a lot of SCVs, so Clem misses his chance. Still comes out if there's a head on army supply. The wipe of the Vikings in the main base was pretty sizable in Clem's favor. As Clem just needs to realize he does not have combat shield. That was one of the big pickoffs Q made during that drop of Vikings into the main. A Marine tank army pulls back up to the top. A few Vikings coming in as well. Factory coming up on both sides here. Just going to be seeing our Clem force is going to go back up to the upper left. There's a couple of Reapers here that are going to be quick pickoffs. And Clem, again, larger army, but can you actually take a fight here? You might want to Matrix a tank at the front. Oh, it doesn't need to. Just kills off 2 tanks for free. He actually has vision to kill off another tank, but the scan comes in return. Of course, when you put yourself in a position like this as Clem, you've got to be afraid of what happens back on the other side as Clem walked forward a bit too soon there, so he lost another siege tank. You got to be careful of counterattacks down the right, looking to, hit your fourth base. The fourth that Clem has and Kyo does not right now, so again, advantage Clem there. As these few Marines are going to come on through. And back over the right. Tank's still sieged up on this left side. And still just got Viking Raven trolling away from Clem. Marine Medevac is going to come through the center here, so getting set up. As Clem may just want to go up the right-hand side and see where he can get to. Kyo going to bring this Marine Medevac through the middle of the map now and also try and figure out a little bit of what's going on. Two extra starports on the way. Marine tank still building it. I think Kyo is kind of ready to play a later game situation here. Clem is not ready defensively. This attack just caught him way off guard. He's actually just sent units out on the map as well. Because Clem's new starports are going to be in some trouble, so... Oh, wow, he's just going to straight up lose a natural command center. There's a lot of Marines here for Kyo. There's a lot of Marines here for Kyo, and Clem just loses 22 SCVs. Tank on the high ground, not siege. Units out on the right-hand side, not in position. Boom, +2 armor denied, and Kira is going to take some serious advantages off of this. He's also going to get the other engineer in bay, +3 attack denied. Costs him a good chunk of Marines, but the advantages he'll take from it going to be sizable, of course. Clem rebuilds his command centers, rebuilds his engineering bays. It just feels like, again, opportunity. Kira keeps showing up in places where he can take a big advantage, where he can get a lot done. And that's what he just keeps on doing again and again and again. And it's just putting him into such good positions. See, this Marine tank force can move out to the right-hand side. A few of these Marines will go down. There's one Viking gets shot down here. Clem just doesn't have enough units over here. Got a couple tanks sieging though. If Kyo doesn't realize that he could overcommit in. Clem still has this force up here. The problem is that hasn't done much. It's kept this group of units here. But it's not been poking or prodding or finding any other positions. Okay, this might be something though, is Kyo. There's gonna be... it's not that bad. I thought Clem might get right up into this. He's actually... Okay, Clem is gonna have SCVs pulled against him though, so... SCVs are gonna have to do some tanking as only 9 of them go down. Clem gets his army pushed back. Again, this is a real question of Clem needing to go back home and find the upgrades time. Time to start the upgrades. If he doesn't start those upgrades at some point soon, it's going to be in some trouble as this army's kind of getting wiped out as well. Vikings taking part. I mean, Clem's just kind of scattered everywhere. And again, his Marines will not trade that well because he's down in armor upgrade. Like I say, I mean, just that +2 armor getting denied while so close to finishing. That one little run by of Marines was such a heartbreaker for Clem. He got so much done. As one tank gets sieged up, Clem was looking to make a move over here, but you can see the supply finally starting to cave. But Clem is finally starting to go the way of his opponent, and this is just a large push that, I mean, at the same time across the map, Clem can't do anything. He's going to try and jump across into the natural. Yeah, he's losing base. He just can't keep them alive. He's got nothing to defend with on this side. Not the natural. He's actually going to aim for the main. Well, main base is a scary position to take because obviously if you can get the main base, shut down production, but units get here too quickly, and Clem's going to lose out in that position too. And Kira is going to be taking, well, a huge lead right now. He has actually just had, again, like I feel like I've said it a couple of times, I'll say it once more, but opportunities. He's had the chances to move into positions and he's taken them. And Clem, when he's had the chance to counterattack at the same time, he just kind of got halted. He wasn't able to find the same, movement that his opponent was. And he kind of got, some of his army hard stuck on that top side as well. GG, and it's a 2-0 lead for Kyo. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player is going to be up 2-0 in this series. Kyo. As in the top right, our red Terran, Team Liquid's Clem. No room for errors anymore. He is going to have to mount a comeback here if he wants to win this series and to go to that grand finals. A chance to fight against Zest. Zest has already beaten Kyo once today. I don't think Zest would mind the rematch. Again, I've been talking a little bit about Zest being the Spring Championship defending champ as well. Last time that Zest did this event, or won this event last year, he actually lost in the winner bracket finals and then beat his opponent in the grand finals. This time, so you might get, what I'm saying is you might get another winner bracket final rematch like you did last time, but obviously this time it's the other way around. He already won the winner bracket finals. He's already in the grand final. Clem might be the most... I know slowly timed this out, but I love this. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. Clem might be the most overrated player of all time. Is he good? Yes, I will admit as much. But he's not even 7k MMR. Incorrect. He's had 0 tournament results against global competition. Incorrect. He got top 8 Katowice. And now the message is gone. Okay, well, I just wanted to call out how wrong this guy was. Sometimes I just, you see someone being so wrong, you just have to, like, really say how wrong they are, just so they maybe get the idea that maybe they should stop talking about StarCraft if they're so clueless. Every now and then, people just need to realize that maybe they are the idiot. maybe it's not everybody else. He only does well against other weaker Europeans. Oh yeah, 6-0 Reno is his current streak. 10-4 against several in maps this year. Hasn't lost a best of 3+. Okay, there he. Sorry. Slowly wanted me to go all in on killing this guy. Jeez. Diamond Caster call me an idiot. Haha, I've been GM before. Congratulations, mate. You've been GM. You probably on the Southeast Asian server. I got GM there once too. I logged in. Ay. Me, Diamond Caster. You don't even need to be a freaking you don't even need to be a GM to talk about results of players and to realize that what you're saying is wrong, mate. Literally. Actually, you know what? You win. You've blown my mind with how stupid you are. I'm actually out of words. You win. Congrats. Alright. Into this game. Bantering on because there's not much else happening. Just faster expansion here from Q, so he's going to slip in a 1-gas expand. The thing is, I don't think Clem could risk a 1-gas expand anymore in this series. It's just too easy to die to something if that's what you end up going for, and you end up against like a Proxy 2-Rax Reaper or so. Hero has room to work with, and that leaves him with a little bit of extra opportunity when it comes to what he can do here. And that makes him even scarier now in this series, that's for sure. Troll got banned, but he got the reaction he wanted. So what if he got a reaction? We had fun with it. Oh wow, he got 2 seconds of fame. And you know what? We had a good laugh with it, so who was the real winner here? I am. I'm always the winner. That's the secret. Yeah, not much going on until this attack shows up. So Clem going to get aggressive. That early tank with the medevac pretty much always means this little marine tank drop is heads forward. There's a Viking here, though, and that's a good way to clear this out because you just can't get rid of the Viking very easily, and then you can't stick around with the medevac. And of course, you can't risk losing the medevac. You can't risk that siege tank being abandoned in the main base of your opponent, right? So you pretty much have to just pull that one back. Just going to see a couple of depots building up here. We're going to see a couple of refineries on the natural as well. I'm just going to be seeing the medevac flying back into this natural. So just getting that set up. In the end, not much to be gained from Clem, so Kia's defense good, and that's really a little bit scary because, of course, Kia opening with that slightly faster expansion, you can already see the work difference. It's 5 right now. It's ping-ponging between 3 and 5 as SCVs finish building at any point in time. And Clem just doesn't have much of an advantage to show for this. We even have a 3rd CC finishing up from Kia. So Kia has just been mega greedy, has had one Viking to scare away everything that Clem wanted to do. And this game, Clem's just going to play from behind. There is no two ways about it. There is nothing that Clem can do right now to bring himself back into this at this point. In terms of, like, immediately kind of, like, obviously the stuff he can do to get back into it, but in terms of, like, straight-up economy, it's not like he can just be like, haha, out SCV. No, he's going to be behind on SCVs if he doesn't do damage. So he must make a play here. That's what he's going to be trying for. So you're just going to be seeing the, Marines, medevacs, tanks, Raven, making their way around the left side. So there's going to be Clem's play. A dive into the main base that Cure is completely out of position for, so it might just work out. As in we go into the main base, we get settled. And this is what Clem was hoping for, something to give him a chance to fight on back. And he's going to get his chance then. 5 SCVs already down, just 0 vision around this left side from Cure, and I mean, even production here is going to be halted as barracks are under fire, and they're going to have to lift up and back away. That's going to delay tech labs and reactors. Nice matrixes from the Ravens. Auto turrets come down, though, from Clem to fight this position, trying to hold his siege tanks until they come out of matrix. I mean, he's not quite going to do that, but he is going to save all of his Marines. He will lose his Ravens. Okay, at the end of it all, Clem takes a bit of an equal lead. Army supplies even out. A little bit afraid for Clem having no Ravens against 2 Ravens. That's a big disadvantage that we've got to keep in mind here. That's actually a massive problem. He is ahead on the stim pack, and he's actually about to have stim, so maybe he can do something with that to chase down these Ravens as well. If Cure doesn't expect stim, he might not expect to have to pull his units back here. A couple of Vikings as well from Clem, but he just doesn't see the opportunity yet to really jump on this. And going back and forth just slightly, trying to see what can be done. Clem's going to be chased away. He loses another Viking. He's going to turn, though. He's going to get a Raven back. And again, I think that's really important, because I really think one of the scariest things on the map right now is just the Raven count still being here for Cure. Trembles are back into the center here. Combat shields on the way up from Clem. It's going to see our siege tank coming through, a couple additional Marines coming out. This army's still in the middle of the map, so Clem, again, I want to bring back what I said a lot in that last game. Opportunity, the chance to set up into good positions and so on, right? Getting into those spots. Kind of exciting. Because now Clem has those chances. And what I really felt like last game was Clem wasn't able to take advantage of them, but so far he's looking okay here. He was behind. He was in trouble. And like I say, I think so far it's fair to say that he's definitely finding himself back out of trouble. He's definitely finding himself back into this game at points. As we move a couple tanks over, the Marines coming in as well. He's going to find a depot here from Q that's trying to provide some vision as he loses some of his vision on the right-hand side. So we're going to see the rest of these units coming on through. We've got a couple of Vikings coming in, chasing a few Vikings down. Clem's going to go for the drop into the main base. Doesn't care about the fact that Vikings are here. He's just going to unload. He's going to get tanks sieged up, and he's going to be in position to deal some damage. SCVs on the low ground might even be in range of these tanks. Yeah, they are, some of them. And as a tank pops out into trouble as well, Clem's going to stem forward. He wants to try and make sure that doesn't get to siege. Okay, he will not get to stop it sieging, but you know what? Doesn't matter. He's still in range of depots. He's still in range of production. And he can do a lot of shutting down right now as we have a couple of SCVs being picked off. A Viking here be able to grab a medevac. As we push on down to the bottom with the rest of this Marine tank force, getting that ready to go. Here we go with the Marines. Stimming in from Cure. Tank fire is decent across those Marines. They will get cleaned out. And now look what Clem's doing. He's ready for a run up into the natural. He missed a chance there. This siege tank would have just been caught. He's actually going to maybe get it anyways. He will. As Clem now pushes through. He doesn't have 1-1 upgrades, mind you, so Marine fights are not as good for Clem as they maybe should be. But he actually has a better position. He just better concave. Does that help him out? I think the upgrades are a bit too much. They will indeed be, but it's, of course, continue to just take a supply lead time after time right now in this game. 14 SCVs killed for Cure. Down in an army. Doesn't really have much going his way at all. He's going to split a few Marines up at the front. He wins the tank fight, but loses his tank very quickly after due to the Marines. Upgrades are now evened out, and obviously Kyo's not had the chance to build up 2-2 upgrades. The last thing on his mind, I imagine, at the moment is, okay, he just now starts +2 attack. But, again, that's very much so a case of just trying to maybe think about, possibly, if he somehow survives all of this, you can get up to those upgrades. I mean, it keeps you competitive, too. Because even if you're not looking to take an upgrade lead, you're just looking to stay even on the upgrades, right? And without those, he probably says, well, I just die later. So I guess he does have to put some thought into them. Tank shots continuing to fly up away at this third base. As Clem definitely looking to, again, bring us back into this series. Make sure this is not going to be a 3-0 sweep. Long way to go, though, still. Long way to go as our tank's firing that orbital. It's being repaired, but of course that's money that has to be spent repairing it all of this time. Every now and then the tanks find some other units that move into position to be shot at instead. This orbital will just lift off. Here we go. It's going to make way for this attack through. Honestly, not a ton of stuff here from Clem in terms of, like, you know, reinforcements are about to arrive, and that would really beef up this army, but there's just enough stuff anyway, and he's going to take down another siege tank that moved into position. And again, we kind of have ourselves, I think, a pretty done deal here, guys. As Clem has just been able to secure this position. I mean, Q hasn't even had a chance to counterattack or find a way back into this game, right? He's just had no opportunity to do anything along those lines. As more SCVs have died, we kind of just camp out here and wait for what again might be the final fight as Clem starts to push on in to take down a couple of these tanks. This tank over here was hitting rocks or something. It was turned the wrong way. Marines of Q trying to come back through as well. So a bit of back and forth in the middle of the map. We've got an attempted third CC to the right-hand side. So Clem now knows where that is. Of course, he can maybe just jump up into the main here. Yep, there's nothing to defend it at all. So into the main base we go. Marines are going to begin unloading. The rest of our Marines continue to drop down. This siege tank pops out. And there's an army on the right side as well. Again, we're casting a finished game, guys. This game's done. And we all very much so know it. We're just waiting for it to wrap up. And GG's, Cure is going to tap on out, and Clem is going to take. As we dive on in to the bottom left-hand side of Beckett Industries. This is going to be our Blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem. As in the upper right-hand side, the red Terran player is QS, still has match point in his hands. Looking for that rematch against Zest. To get this one settled into action. This is such a short map. There's no way you go one gas expand here, right? If you go one gas expand on this map, I'm looking at you and I'm like, hello? Like you're defying the laws of Starcraft, basically. You know, that is what you're doing if you try to one gas expand on this one. SCV moves out onto the map. I'm going to pass by another SCV as well, so SCVs pass each other by. And we have a single gas expand from Clem. So, I will sit here and say I have no idea what the plan is here for Clem. Let's see what he can do. I mean, he's going to have to play very defensively, right? Because there is just, like I say, there's no advantage to having... There's no easy way to defend this position. The one thing, I mean, everything about this map sucks defensively. If a siege tank gets here, your main base is sieged. There's no ramp up into the natural. It's short rush distance. Yeah, I mean, Clem obviously decides to one gas expand. Let's see what he wants to do. I mean, it could be a play around sort of saying, hey, you don't expect me to one gas expand on this map, so you want proxy Reaper, so I will one gas expand. So let's see if Kyo can take advantage of it, basically is the question. I mean, we saw Kyo really just shutting down Clem's attempted aggression as he one gas expanded last game. Just feels like there's maybe a few more openings to take advantage of on this one. And like I say, if I'm Clem, I'd be kind of afraid because the way that Kyo has been playing, he's not been letting any of those openings slip on by him, right? He's been very sure to keep an eye on all that kind of stuff. T-Reaper's going to continue down. End up over here as the Reaper gets bunked back. Obviously bunker at the front initially. Now a tech lab on the factory, reactor on the barracks. Yeah, Reaper's kind of thought about sliding by there. Obviously, T-Reaper initially, what you do here is, you can see he's obviously passed by the Hellion, right? So he goes straight into the siege tank. Yeah, like I say, I think, again, anything out that's going to, siege tank medevac, same as what Clem did last game, I feel like it's the best chance to get some damage done, so makes a lot of sense. Medevac coming through. A couple of Marines is going to pop out. I'm just waiting for this attack from Q to get set up. Back at home, Clem. Building a Viking, building a tank of his own, so he is setting up kind of how Q is set up in the last game. And that is to, again, play defensively and make sure he's not going to take too much damage from an attempted attack. So, I guess it's all coming together. This is why he's done it, because he really believes he can just shut this down and defend it. So, getting that ready as we come through. Marines in the main base. He's going to see the medevac, obviously, from Q, looking for the opening. Units of Clem can't be everywhere, right? And even if you get this tank back over here, probably get a couple SCVs out of it. And that's all you really need to play catch-up. So Kira is going to find a way into the mineral line. And Clem's instantly going to pull, loses one SCV right away. Second SCV survives. And that's just the lift up and back away. But of course, lost mining time too. So you don't need a lot to offset the advantage here, but that's way more than what Clem found last time. He flew forward, got found by the Viking, and he just had to back it up, completely. Follow up from this, Clem's actually already on a Raven lead, just by a little bit, by a few seconds. So Ravens on both sides, and otherwise, yeah, a little bit of an army supply lead here from Q. We'll see if he can do anything with it at the end of the day, but like he's in general just kind of backing this up and not too worried about continuing for the moment. As we go around to the left, additional Marines. This Raven coming through the center of the map as well. Fungus out the front. That Viking going to come around. It's just going to patrol to the sides, and a couple of these Marines going to jump into the bunker as well. So just getting that set up. One Marine moves forwards, gets shot down instantly by the Cyclone. And it's going to be seeing Kira backing it up over to the upper right-hand side, so not really much going to happen again. Kira just going to use his map control to take the third CC in position. I'm just going to build his in the main, of course, and then we'll float it down. And we're going to get to a mid-game of this TvT with kind of an even setup across the board. A little bit of worker/army supply difference here or there. Maybe you could argue that Clem is slightly ahead, I think. Just because of the couple workers all this time, that little bit of extra eco. But, yeah, I mean, then Kira has his third CC in location, doesn't have to float it down. It's such a minimal difference anyways, right? That it's very superficial to really talk too much about it. This one medevac of Marines going to sit down on this bottom side. That's going to look for its chance to maybe make a bit of a play. Up into the main base, going to start dropping in on top of the siege tank to begin with, so siege tank in a little bit of trouble. It's going to go down, and this is actually nice from Kua, able to get some damage done as Clem. It's going to clean it up. I mean, it's going to be, how many SCVs go down, I guess? 5? Why aren't these Marines fighting? Hello? These Marines could have turned around so much sooner to fight against a couple of extra SCVs. Maybe he's probably worried about what he's doing over here. Big push to the center, and Clem's going to have to evacuate his third location, so Kira is able to jump on this. Yeah, good defense at the front, Clem, but now in a little bit of trouble as Kira's going to set up right outside of your natural expansion. Uh-oh. Well, now Clem's going to have to find his way to fight against this. He actually has air control at the moment, I believe. The Cyclone locks on, though, so the Cyclone can make a difference if it gets some additional shots off. Tank fire hits a Cyclone and a few Marines as well. But the tank's still just sieging up at the moment. Another Cyclone lock-on going to chase the Vikings back a little bit. Takes a while for Clem to get out of there. Might want to just go repair those Vikings up. And yeah, Kira able to strike as Clem is distracted up in the main base. Just everything was in the main. Everything was in the main, and obviously then you lose a couple units on the low ground to begin with as well because you weren't expecting the fight. Now these tanks backed it up a little bit, and that might get intriguing because now they're kind of on their own, and Clem is going to actually chase down up here. There is a single siege tank in this direction. Oh my god, the volley from that one tank does a lot. Well, the turret's going to come down, but Marines should be able to swell through. The tanks of Kira out in the center still on siege. Man, that tank did a lot of damage though. Stemmed, uncombat shielded Marines. That's, by the way, Clem engineering base non-existent, no upgrades at all. And Kira is going to get into a Marine upgrade lead. That's going to be a pretty big deal, having that marine upgrade advantage. That's going to be massive as our Vikings, Marines, and tanks join up together. We're just going to be seeing our army of Q. We'll take a moment to sit back. So yes, supplies are kind of similar, but when you look beyond the supplies, there's a lot of differences between the two at the moment. Specifically those upgrades, fourth base building in position. You know, these little things are really going to give Q an advantage given time. So Clem, as he looks to push right now, obviously marine upgrades don't matter if you end up in a position where you can force, you know, tank fights. If your tanks can get involved in the fight, then, you know, maybe those marine upgrades don't matter at all. It's a lot of tanks that get sieged up here as Kira's going to try and siege against it. He's going to try and fight this position. Clem does have some fire out onto those siege tanks. Is he in range of this command center still? He's actually going to be in range with the Marines to fight back the Vikings or so. Okay, well, this is very reminiscent of what we've had earlier today as well, as he does cancel the fourth, where Clem takes one position and it's strong. And don't get me wrong, this is a great place to be in, but he needs to not get held up here. You know, if you get held up here and you get kind of too invested in this position, then everything else elsewhere on the map can go very wrong for you. So he needs to make sure that it's worthwhile keeping these units here, otherwise try and find a way to back them out. And he's actually going to start to retreat away with them. So I like that because that gives him chances to use his army elsewhere. Now both players on the way to 4th base. Here will still maintain an upgrade lead. I was going to say if he got +2 armor, but he fixes that now. Clem's upgrades are still only halfway done. The upgrades are really a big issue for Clem in this game. They are going to dictate so much of what Kyo can do, and it might just mean that Clem has to play a much more defensive game and kind of let Kyo take advantage of that and take the pacing. And then in the end, what Clem can do is obviously eventually upgrades even out, right? So eventually they even out, then you can just play from there, and at that point it's probably kind of late game, to be honest. So yeah, Clem doesn't like letting players take advantage though and kind of take position. Sensor Tower provides some vision here. Obviously Kyo moves to defend against this play right from the start. The tanks and the medevacs for the added mobility. A double Sensor Tower of how you ever meant to get anywhere here is Clem. I think this game is almost destined to go late game because once these Sensor Towers up, like I say, how do you ever get into a position? You just don't, right? There's no way to really get anywhere. So yeah, kind of a little bit rough, to be honest. Tanks can unload, Marines with the medevacs out to that right-hand side. CC building the planetary fortress on the far right as well. Still just seeing Marine tank Viking force. It's actually okay. This could be it, right? You come in from the closest possible position without being in range of Sensor Tower. And he is going to kind of get here pretty quickly. He's going to jump on the 2 tanks, gets rid of the Sensor Tower, gets all of the SCVs. Clem does find the chance to strike. How do you fight in this position, Wardy? This is how. How do you get something done? That's how. And here was just, I mean, Clem was really ready to just hardcore dive on this, but massive counterattack coming in, so he's going to start losing himself back at home. He's going to realize what's happening because he has a Sensor Tower up. Tank sieging. He's got SCVs to try and hold back these Marines as long as possible. Anti-armor missile to help Kira out in this fight. Remember, there's still the upgrade disadvantage here as well, as that Raven will go down, but there's too many Marines. Clem has pulled all the way back. I mean, they're looking at this being a... Well, he actually might keep his base alive. If he keeps his base alive, that would be a pretty huge deal. There are a group of siege tanks over here. Clem is actually going to get his own siege tank set up. He's going to stim on into this. He's not stimmed for a moment or two. Now he's going to stim and fight. I think this is a bad call from Clem. Too much tank fire. And he just didn't realize how powerful those tanks were. And again, upgrades. 2-2 against 1-1. And his Marines were just getting shredded. Clem, I think Clem kind of... The thing is, I can understand it too. I feel like a lot of the time that is an opportunity to fight, but... Yeah, the upgrades really just mean your Marines get shredded, and so Kira, again, an advantage he's had since the early game is going to come back to haunt Clem. And it looks as though Clem is now really in a bit of trouble. Now, that said, he is 4 base against 3 for the moment, but that new 4th base that Kira is set up, it's going to move off to the side. Clem has, Clem doesn't even have an SCV advantage off of all of this. I mean, I guess we're at the point in the game where the main is mining out, so... If you look at the income, you can see it's barely even in Clem's favor, though, right? So, if it's not even in Clem's favor, what is he actually really getting out of it all? Not a lot is the answer. Marine tank still moving around the center army of Clem. Pushes around to the right-hand side. Going to be trying to push on through. Don't think he's going to be able to do anything in this position, though. Those tanks get sieged. And here we'll hold Clem off as... Well, you know what? Again, okay, so I'll go back to what I suggested earlier. What does Clem... Well, what can Clem do now? Maybe just play from behind a defensive game? It's not impossible on a map like Beckett Industries. Not a lot of base on this map either. So if you just hold kind of base by base, you can maybe make this work eventually. Problem is, Kira is already on the way to a whole chunk of Ravens, but I guess you can hope that he makes some mistakes, fights into positions he shouldn't be fighting into. 2-2 against 2-2 right now. Upgrade disadvantage of Clem is not available, so... I mean, finally his Marines are going to fight somewhat evenly. And yeah, the air advantage is just ridiculous, though. Like Vikings and Ravens. Okay, well, this is a counterattack from Clem. I mean, it's going to do some damage, right? 3rd CC in some trouble. Oh, he's afraid of what's going to come in from the other side. He doesn't actually want to lose these units. He's afraid if he loses these units, he's going to kind of lose the counterattack. The problem is he kind of loses these units anyways. He does kind of trade for the units at least, I guess. Would it have been better just go wipe a mineral line? It's a really difficult call, because if you wipe that mineral line, great, but like I say, maybe the counterattack kills you. Right now, Kira is just overwhelming Clem out in the center of the map as well. Team Marines in the middle. We're going to try and push on forward. Tank fire is decent. Done some damage out there. This GG is cold. Kira just has too much early game advantage swung his way. And again, Kira just comes out ahead of Clem in a series. And just something about the way Kira plays that early mid-game that Clem just can't quite get on top of. Some of these attacks he's not quite expecting. Definitely something to look at here for Clem, as he will finish 3rd place in the WardiTV Spring Championship. Kira showing up in the TvT matchup. One that we've obviously as well definitely seen Clem have weaknesses in as well, I would say. GG's, Kira is going to go on through to the grand finals for a rematch against Est.